Be clothed with humility, for God resisteth the proud and giveth grace to the humble. I think if we truly understand the nature of God, and we understand completely the greatness of God, I don't know how we could come to Him in any other way than to be humble in His presence and before Him. A God that created everything. A God that's without borders, a God that's without bounds, a God that has no beginning, a God that has no end, and a God that's always been, and a God that will always be. Amen. How could you not come unto that God humbly? Because a God that's that great, I think, forces you to realize how insignificant in some ways we are. And how great a God He is, because He makes us more than what we would be. And more than who we were without it. People, I think, and you see this seems like more and more, I think people view God a little bit differently than I guess God's been traditionally viewed. I think they view sometimes Christ as being their best buddy. I hope He is. But I hope you talk to Him different than you do your best buddy. I hope you come before God with a different attitude than you come before your best buddy. I sure do. I'm not on the same level as my God. And the only hope I got is because of my God. Amen. God resisteth the proud. If we start to put any kind of emphasis on ourselves and our own abilities and our own fortitude to be able to get something done, I don't think God's pleased with it, because we can't if it's outside His will. There's nothing that's within our means and our bounds that we can accomplish without God. I can't get myself into heaven, no matter how hard I try. I can't buy my way into heaven. I can't spend enough time to get myself into heaven. There is nothing that's within my ability to get myself into heaven except that I have faith and believe in Jesus Christ. Amen. And in such, I'm not and can't be proud. If I start thinking that there's something that's within my power to do, something that's within my control, to be able to get myself and to supplant God's role and to supplant Christ's role in that endeavor, God's not going to look favorably on it, because it's simply not true. It's a falsehood. There's a lot of beliefs out that, there's a lot of different paths to get to God. And one's as Bible as the next. Christianity works, that's fine. Islam works, that's fine. Judaism works, that's fine. And a lot of other different things works, and they're all fine. If we take that belief, if we go with this with the understanding and the belief in our heart that we can go a number of different paths to get to God, then that's allowing us to choose the path that we want to take. Yeah. And that's putting us in God's role. Right. Somebody that thinks that you get to choose the way that you get to God is proud. I don't care how you look at it, that's prideful to think that you get to dictate your terms to God into how you come to Him. And plain and simple truth of it is, it's completely contrary to what the Bible says. There's only one way to the Father. Only one way. Amen. And no other. I can't take hold of anything that comes down the track and get there. There's only one thing I can do. And that's what's laid out for me. When we come to God, I think we ought to show reverence for who He is. I think we ought to show an understanding for His greatness, His power, and His authority. I think we ought to come with contrite heart and contrite spirit. And be constantly mindful of how insignificant we are on our own merit. How hopeless we are on our own merit. How ineffective we are at keeping ourselves from sin. How ineffective we are at keeping ourselves out of the path that Satan would have us to go. I think that extends to our general nature when we come before God. If we look back through the Bible, I think if you look at the interactions that people have had with God throughout the Old Testament especially, but into the New as well, I think you get an understanding of how God wants us to approach Him and what He expects from us to do. Because He'll let us know. And He's told us. When Moses came and found the burning bush, God gave Moses a quick education right there. What did He tell him? To get your shoes off your feet, the place you're standing is holy ground. We're supposed to act differently. We're supposed to conduct ourselves differently when we're in a place of worship. And I think what we do outwardly is a symbol of what's going on inside us. It's making preparation. It's preparing ourselves to be able to interact with God. Moses taking his shoes off. I seriously doubt God was overly concerned that He was going to carry a little dust on top of the dust that was already there. I don't think that was God's motivation in telling him to get his shoes off his feet. God told him to get his shoes off his feet because it signifies that you're in some place different. It signifies that you're in a different atmosphere and you should have a different attitude while you're there. Yeah. Now the sort is partly the way I was brought up. When I'm not here and I'm not at work, I work out about it all the time. I just do. Keep my head warm. Saying anymore, that's got to be a little bit of an important thing. This winter I've started to notice a little bit, and I go out in the cold, top of my head gets cold. A few years ago, I went outside with baling hay, and I noticed, boy, the top of my head sure does hurt. And I got home and looked in the mirror at the top of my head, and it was just as red as could be. And that hurts for those of you that's got a good head of hair. That hurts. And so I work out about all the time. But I don't wear a cap when I'm here. Even when I'm here, when we're not having church, if I happen to come by here for some purpose through the week, which I do on occasion, I walk in that door and take the cap off. Because this is a sanctuary dedicated to the worship of God.
Amen and amen.
It's a different place. It's a different atmosphere. It ain't about somebody else seeing me. There's nobody else here. But I do it in reverence to God and in reverence for the place that this is. When we come before God, when we come into a place of worship, we should show respect for that. And we should give it the appropriate acknowledgement of what it is. If we don't come before God respectfully and humbly, God's not going to respect and He's not going to honor our presence there. Because we're not coming in a way that's pleasing to Him. Because we're not coming in a way that's pleasing to Him. If we lie in talking to God and we're boastful, we're beating ourselves on the chest a little bit and we're playing Tarzan, God ain't going to be pleased with that. God's not happy with us when we say, God, you know, look what I did today. Look what I did today. Oh, I'm so proud of myself, you know. You probably don't phrase it like that, but that's what you say. God, I'm so proud of myself today. Phew, you ought to sing what I did. That was a fine thing I did. Fine thing I did. If we manage to do anything pleasing to God, He doesn't know about it anyway. We ain't got to tell Him about it. And that is certainly not an humble thing to say to God.